Yeah, online, I'm not speaking anything. Okay. I'm just connecting to the server. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome back to the session. In last class, which topic we have seen? Docker, right? Okay. Sensible project done for all of you? Everybody. How many are up to the date? Okay. So, in today, I'm gonna start the concept of Docker file and like OS level of virtualization. Okay. What is the command to download image? Docker pull. Now, I'm gonna show you an error. Try to tell me what is the responsible, like what is the cause for that error. Okay, I'm gonna show you the error itself. Command will be docker pull ubuntu. I have to read that error. I started the docker client only, but I need to enable docker daemon or not, sir? Without enabling the daemon, how will daemon go and pull the registry images? Logic or not? So whenever if you are getting is docker daemon running, that means you need to check the service. So give the command systemctl docker. And checking the status is optional. If you want, you can take. Is it running now? Fine. So let's go and discuss now. So first of all, I'm gonna use docker pull ubuntu. I'm gonna pull the ubuntu image, and after that, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a container on it. Tell me the command to create a container of it. Docker run it name container one. Let's check. Okay. So here I want to install some packages. So first of all, I need to do apt update. Okay, I'll install some packages. Let's take Git, Apache Maven, or like let's take LAMP stack. What is LAMP stack? Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, right? apt install. I'm installing Apache 2, and I'm installing MySQL Server, and I'm installing Python 3. Okay, this is LAMP stack I'm installing. Today's concept is going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so please try to pay some attention. Okay, attention got disturbed now. Okay. So if you get some kind of geographical locations like this, just to give the geographical locations, I'm giving 9. Time zone, mm, anything is fine. No a specific one. How many of you are from BTech here? BTech from CSC and IT. All of you are CSC and IT, huh? MC, okay. Then I have a question for you. Only for the people from IT. You learned a lot of subject in your IT background, right? But what is the one subject that is helping you now from your graduation? Eh? Which one, Amma? English, huh? Okay, who said English here? Tapasa. Suppose, can you introduce yourself for 1 minute? Introduce yourself without one minute without any break. Not there, not there. Come here. Where you come here, man? Okay, from there, 1 minute exactly. 1 minute हो गया? अगर 1 मिनट से ज्यादा उतना वीक है क्या? हाँ? थोड़ा है उतना नहीं. Okay, so let's coming back to our topic. So first of all, from the Docker registry, I pulled a image. That is my Ubuntu image, right? From the image, what I created, sir? I created a container. Let's take it is my container, right? And for the image, I'm gonna take it as my image itself. Let's take it as Ubuntu image. Which one it is? Sir, Ubuntu image will come with the basic Ubuntu operating system. Apart from that, will you get anything? You won't get. But from the Ubuntu image, I'm creating a container called container one. That means this container one by default get the Ubuntu OS by default. By default get Ubuntu. But apart from Ubuntu here, what I'm trying to install is I'm installing some packages like LAMP I'm installing Apache, I'm installing MySQL, and I'm installing Python. And finally, I'm gonna create some files too. What I'm gonna create? That means in the image itself, you are having only Ubuntu OS. But when it's come to container, container is having Ubuntu, Apache, MySQL, and Python. So first one, I'm gonna call it as image. What is the first one? Image. From the image, what I created here? Container, correct or not, sir? In container, what I have now? Apache, MySQL, Python, files. So here I'll having the same things. Let me create some files also. I'll be going and creating touch file one dot file. And I'm going to insert some content also character greater than file one. This is my file one from container one. Let's take. Come out of the container, control PQ. Now give the command docker ps. Are you able to see one container? Let's assume in second container also you want to install LAMP stack and you want to create some files. Third container also same work. Fourth container also same work. Everything you are going to repeat the work. So in that case, you need to pull the image again. You need to install them again. You need to pull the image, install them, pull the image, install them. Like this, we need to keep continue, right? So in order to avoid this work, I am going to take the backup of this container. What I'm going to take now? Backup. So this backup is nothing but whatever the content that I'll be having on the container, same content will come now. Okay. Whatever the content I'm having on container one, same content will be coming as a backup. That means in my container one, what I have Ubuntu, I have Apache, I have MySQL, I have Python, and I have some files. This is what I can call my custom image. Which image? Custom image. Custom image name can be anything. It can be XYZ, it can be ABC, or it can be any other thing. So the major intention is if I have 10 containers, instead of pulling the Ubuntu image 10 times and installing the package for 10 times, what I'm doing now is the content, whatever I'm having in the container, if I take a backup, the whole content will be coming to the custom image. Now from the custom image, can I create some other containers? Can I create or not? From the custom image, if I create some other containers, obviously these containers now will be having the same OS, same packages, and same files itself. Okay, let me explain in this way. Going this top. So these are my 3 containers actually. How many containers I'm having here? 3 containers. Now for these 3 containers, I need to have the Ubuntu operating system, and I need to have some packages, and I need to install some files itself. Now instead of installing the content Again, from comments, what I can do, if I attach the custom image to all of these containers, now all of these containers will be having the Ubuntu as OS, Apache, MySQL, and some files. Will come by default or not, sir? Is it a better method or not? Definitely it is going to be the better method. Why? Because here 3 containers I'm having. Instead of installing the Ubuntu OS, giving the packages manually and giving the files manually, if I give the same image, which I extract from the container, now automatically next containers will get the same things by default. Now I don't need to install anything manually. This process is what I can call as OS level of virtualization. What do we call as? OS level of virtualization means taking the complete backup of OS. That means whatever the content you are having in the OS, you'll be getting the complete backup. Like OS, packages, files, you'll be getting the complete end-to-end backup. Now let me go and show you how does it will work. First of all, here you know how to get the image, how to create the container, how to install the package. Now, how to create the custom image? That is very easy by using the command called docker commit command. Which command? Docker commit. Docker commit is the command that is going to create the custom image from the container itself. That means simply container backup. So now give the command docker images. How many images we are having? 1. How many containers? 1. Now give the command docker commit. I am creating the image called Raham V1. Which image? From the container called container 1. That means whatever the content you are having inside the container 1, everything will come as backup of Raham V1. Hit enter. Oh wait. First of all, I need to give container name, then image name. Docker commit container 1 and the name of the image will be Raham V1. Now the entire data is going to be backed actually. From the container 1, whatever you are seeing the data will be complete transferred to Raham V1. Previously, how many Docker images you are having? 1. But now are you seeing Raham V1? Now let's create a container from Raham V1. Okay. Tell me the command to create the container from Raham V1 image. Tell me the command. Docker. Name I am giving container 2. And image will be Raham. Now if you go and see, I am just checking to Apache 2 version. Are you using Apache? Yes. And are you using MySQL? Oh, I need to give MySQL hyphen version. Wait. Is MySQL there? And go for Python. Are you seeing Python here? Yes. And finally, even though if I give LL or LS, you can see 5 files also. If I open cat file 1, are you getting the content of file 1 or not, sir? Yes. How the content and packages come to this container itself? From the custom image. From the But how the custom image get the OS packages and files from the previous container? That means in the previous container, I took the backup of my complete OS and that OS I put on the image, and from that image I am creating the multiple containers itself. Let's go and do this for some other container. Let me tell you how to do in the other way. For example, tell me the command to create container 3 with image called Raham V1. Docker run ID name container 3 image Raham V1. Here tags are very, very important. Now here do I need to install Apache, MySQL and PHP? I mean like sorry, Python? Yes or no? No. Why no? Already in this image called Raham V1, I have Apache installed, I have MySQL installed, I have Python installed, and I have some files also. Correct or not, sir? In this way, even though if I create 100 containers, do I need to install packages on all the 100 containers? Is it efficient way or not, sir? Yes, you can see the files. You can see the packages. And even though you can see the content inside the file also. Complete copying, right? So this concept is what we can call as OS level of virtualization. What do we call as? OS level of virtualization is nothing but taking the complete backup of our operating system and reuse for multiple times. That is what we can call as OS level of. Now write this definition all of you in your notes. Everybody. OS level of virtualization is nothing but taking the complete backup of OS and reusing it. Taking the backup of complete OS. OS level of virtualization means taking the complete backup OS and reusing it for multiple containers itself, right? So here step by step I have given how to pull the image, how to create the container, how to install the packages, and how to create the new image from the existing container. Everything is step by step given. So you not to worry about the process. Now coming to this particular topic, sir, is it a better topic or not, sir? Good thing or not? Why? Because instead of doing the manual things multiple times, you can do it on one thing, and that one thing you can use for multiple times. But whatever the process you have learned is completely worst process. In real time, we don't use this. In real time, we don't. Concept we use, but the method, whatever I taught you, this method we will not use. Why? Because tell me one thing. Here, whatever the method that you have used now, this method is completely manual method. Which method? But I can make this method even more automate with the help of the concept called Docker file. Which one? Here, go and see now in this diagram. First of all, I take a image, I create a container. From there, again, I create a image. From the image again, container. Totally 4 steps. How many steps? 1 image, 2 container, third again image, and fourth again container. But I can do within these 2 steps only. How many steps? Step number 1. Building the image directly. Don't use to have the container. Without container also we can build the image. Sir, if you see, is a point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, and point number 4. First point is pulling the image, second point is creating the container. But here in the next process, I don't use base image, I don't use container also. Directly I can build the custom image. What I can build? With the help of the concept called Docker file. It is very, very important concept in entire Docker actually. Okay. So Docker file is an automation way to create images. Which one? If I want to create image in automating method, I can use Docker file here. And here we use Docker components to create image. Components means whatever you write inside the file will be called as component. And in Docker file, D must be capital and component also capital. Docker file will be used for reusability. That means if you write the file one time, you can reuse it for multiple times. In Ansible playbook, right? How many times we reuse it? Multiple times. Here also, if you write Docker file one time, it can reuse for multiple times itself. And here we can create image directly without container. Already as per this diagram, here we have to get the container to create the image in the method number 1. But if we use Docker file, without creating the container, directly we can go and create the custom image. And name should be Docker file, D will be capital. If you give D as small, that won't work for you. Okay. Again, I'm explaining everything for you. Docker file is an automating way of creating the image, and inside the Docker file we have components. Components must be capital actually. In Docker file, D will be capital and components is also going to be, you can see run, from, CMD, entry point, all these are components. Everything is on caps letter or not, sir? Yes. And in Docker file, D will be capital and components also capital, and Docker file will be used for reusability. And here we can create image directly without help of a container. And what is the file here? Docker file. So now let's go and practice the Docker file. Before I go and tell the Docker file practically, is Docker file concept clear for all of you? What is the main intention of Docker file? To automate the image creation and for reusability. And components inside Docker file will be capital, and in Docker file D will be capital. To create the Docker file, do we need to have container? No, correct. So online, is the concept of Docker file clear for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box? Okay, fine. So next here, I'm gonna show you how to remove the existing components. Currently, I have a lot of Docker components. I have 3 containers and 2 images. I'll clean up my Docker host completely. Give the command Docker images. How many images you are having? 2. 2 images. And containers? 3. So how to remove all the containers? So what is the command to remove container Docker RM? But before RM, I need to give Docker kill or stop command, correct? So if I give Docker ps -q, I'll get IDs of container. What I'll get? Or you can give AQ also, ps-AQ. Anything will be fine. Docker ps-AQ or Docker ps-q. Now what I'll take this IDs as a variable. I want to kill all of the IDs, right? Just to give $. And if I use Docker kill, okay, what is going to happen? I'm going to run the Docker kill command for Docker ps-AQ. That means all these IDs will come to the kill now. Hit enter. Now, if you can go and see Docker ps-a, all this contains on which state? Exit. Now, instead of kill, can I use RM now directly? That is the way how you can clean the entire Docker host actually. Same thing will be applied for image also. If I use the command Docker images, I'll get images. But if I want to get IDs, I need to use -q. -q will give you the IDs. Are you getting ID? This ID is need to take as a variable. Variable means you need to put $. Give the command Docker RM, but I. Why? Because RM is to container. RMI is for the image. Give -f. -f for forcefully. There you go. You don't have any images now. Do you have any images now? That means my complete Docker host is clean sweep. I don't have anything here. And these commands I have given here also. So you need not to worry about anything. Let's go and deal with the Docker file now. So in Docker file, D should be capital already as we discussed. Docker file. Sir, whatever I shown you here, same thing I'm doing it from Docker file. First of all, I want to install some packages. If I want to install any package, what is the basic thing I need to have? Huh? Correct. OS. Why? Because without OS, can we install any kind of softwares and packages? Without OS, you cannot do anything. That's for damn sure. So first of all, I need to get the OS for any of the Docker file. How can you get? By using from component. Which one? From will give you the operating system. I am taking the OS as Ubuntu. From Ubuntu means I am using Ubuntu operating system for this particular image. Next one is gonna be run. Run is to execute the Linux commands. If I want to execute Linux commands inside this image, I need to use run. Again, I'm telling this one. From is to use the basic image that for operating system purpose. Second one is run. Run is to run the Linux command. Let's go and use run apt update and you run apt install Apache 2-y. Is it clear for all of you? Know? This is the basic Docker file I'm teaching you first of all. What is the first component? From is to get the OS. Run is to Run is to run the Linux commands. So I'm using apt update and I'm using apt install Apache to -y. Once your Docker file is completed, okay, the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna build the file. What you gonna do? This is the one thing you need to understand. First of all, it is a file. Inside the file, you are going to write some content that can be any kind of content. You write some content inside the file. Okay. So after that, you are going to build the image. What you gonna do? From the file, if you want to get the custom image, you are going to build it. What you are going to do it? Build it. So what is the command to build means? Docker build. Command will be docker build -t image name. Image name can be anything. And you need to use a folder like where your current folder is. I'm going to put dot. Currently my Docker file is in my current folder and I'm putting dot. First one is what here? Docker file. Second one is what here? It is my custom image. Okay. I have Docker file now. Now from a Docker file, what I want to build? Custom image. What I want to build? How can I do by using the command docker build -t image? So give the command docker build -t image name. Let's take it as Raham v1. Dot indicate where is your current Docker file. My Docker file is in my current folder. Current folder means dot only. Hit enter. Dot is very, very important. Now you can see Docker file is building here. Are you seeing the command is executing here? And you can see the build time also, how much time it is taking. No. That is different. This is different. It installing Apache now? Are you seeing it? Is Apache installing? And you can see the number of time I am taking to build also. How much of time it took? 32.6. Now if you go and see, first of all, to get the basic thing, you can see the complete time I'm using from Docker. That means to build the Docker image, how much of time it took? 2.4 seconds. To run the update command, how much of time it took? 10.6. And to run and install Apache, how much of time it took? Like that. Now if I go and give the command docker images, are you getting Raham image now? From the image directly I can go and I can create container. How to create the container now? Docker run it name container1 image will be Raham v1. Now if I use Apache to -v, Apache automatically installed or not, sir? How Apache installed? I write the command to install Apache in my Docker file. Whatever you write inside the Docker file, that output will come to the custom image. And from the custom image, output will directly come to the container itself. Where the output will come to? That means when you compare with first method, second method is very easy or not, sir? Similarly, if I want to install some other package, write the package name in Docker file, create an image, build a container. Like this. You can do complete automation like this. So is the workflow of Docker file clear for all of you? First of all, what we do here? We create the Docker file. From the Docker file, what we build? Custom image. From the custom image, what we are going to do? Create a container. So this is the whole process that you need to understand for the Docker file lifecycle. Okay. So it is my container, I can say. That's it. So here step-by-step process I have given in the notes itself. So you can follow the notes for even better clarity. Okay. So now next you have got the two things. First of all, from is to base image, run is to build a, like run the Linux commands. But there is one more thing called CMD. Which one? I'll tell what is CMD here. It is going to be very interesting now. Let me go and write this one. VIM. Like come out of the container. Control PQ. If you use Control PQ, then only you will come out of the container itself. Give the command. Docker file. The Docker file. Now write, I want to install MySQL in Python, for example. So use run apt install Python 3. What I want to install? and use run apt install MySQL hyphen server hyphen y. Now, if you go and see, sir, what is the purpose of run? To execute Lyrex command in the image. But instead of run, I'm gonna use CMD. What I'm gonna use? There is a difference actually. It is an interview question for all of you. What is the difference between run versus run and CMD used to execute the Linux command? But the only difference is run will execute command during image creation. That means at the time of creating the image, this command will execute. But CMD is not like that. Once you create a container, then only this command will execute. Run during image creation, CMD after. Let me show it with practical example. Let's go in. Let's build the Docker image now. So tell me the command to build the Docker image from the Docker file. Docker build -t image. You can take as Raham v2 also or v1 also fine. Anything is fine, but I'm taking v2 and put dot. Is Python installing now? Why Python is installing? I'm using run there. What I'm using? But when it comes to MySQL, MySQL will not install. Is MySQL installed here? You can see only Python got installed, right? But where is MySQL? It's not installed. MySQL will install after. Tell me after container creation. Tell me the command to create container. Docker run id name container to image will be Raham v2. Now the moment if I create the container, automatically MySQL will install inside the container. Hit enter. Is MySQL installing now? Installing or not? So now is the difference between run versus CMD is this single point. Both will be execute Linux command, but run will execute during image creation, but CMD will execute container creation. Is the difference between 2 points clear for all of you? Online, can you please confirm me run versus CMD clear for all of you or not? And I hope it is clear for both of you, Swati and Nikhil. You asked me to repeat, I repeated it. Nikhil and Swati, is this clear for both of you or not? Can you please confirm? Okay. So next one is going to be the entry point here. Entry point is nothing but high priority than CMD. If you give both CMD and entry point, automatically entry point will execute first. Okay. So from done, run done, and CMD also done. Give me 1 second, I'll be back. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so from done, run is also done, CMD also done, and finally entry point, it is more high priority than CMD. Entry point I'll show you later in the practical point of view. Next thing will be copy and add. What is the difference between them? Very clear. For example, let's take in my local, I have a file. I'm gonna create the file called index.html. Index.html. I have this file. I want to copy this file to my Docker container. So how I can do it? By using the copy attribute. Which one? Copy attribute. And in the same way, I have a file on internet. Let's take Apache file actually. Go for DLC in Apache, Tomcat 9. This one. For example, let's go and take this one. I have this tar file. This file is on local or internet. I want this file to my Docker container. In that case, I can use add. Which one? Sorry. That is the difference between both of them. If I go to the Docker file now, and here I can remove all of them. I don't want all of them, so I can remove all of them now. I'm going to explain copy versus add. If I use copy, index.html / tmp, that means I'm using copy attribute to copy my local file. What is my local file here? And I'm copying to which file? TMP folder. Okay. Same wise, I want to copy the file which is on internet. For the internet file, let's take this my internet file, Tomcat file. Okay. So this file I want to copy to my container. So copy will not work. Why? Because copy is to local files only. Which one? But if I want to copy the files on internet, in that case I need to use add. So I'm going to add to which folder? TMP. Okay. And one more thing you need to understand is by default, whenever if you open any container, you will be going to the root path. Which path? Root path. Like I'll show it lively for you. Let me go in the. So copy is to copy local files, add is to copy the internet files. So I have the Docker file. After Docker file, what you gonna do now? Build it. Tell me the command to build. Docker build -t. I'm gonna take Raham v3 dot. Dot indicates current directory. Why? Because my Docker file is in my current folder. But if your Docker file is on TMP folder, put TMP. Now, if your Docker file is on ABC folder, put ABC. Wherever your Docker folder is there, you need to mention the Docker file path actually. Is it doing now? How much time it took to build the image? 2. Now you have the image. From the image, what is the next step you're gonna do? See the diagram. Create the, tell me the command then. Docker run it name container 3 and image will be Raham v3 or 2. Sure. V3 it is. Which one? You can see it clearly, na? And here also you can see it very clearly, right? Hit enter. Now you are inside container 3. Now go to TMP folder. In TMP, are you able to see index.html and Apache Tomcat? This is the local file. For local file, which attribute I used? Copy. But from internet file, I use add. Is the difference between both of them clear? Yes. Let's go and see this one more time. So from is to get the base image. Run is to get the Linux command. And CMD also Linux command. But what is the difference between run versus CMD? Run will execute command during image creation. CMD after container creation. And entry point. What is entry point here? High priority then CMD. And what is the difference between copy versus add? Copy is to copy the local files to container. Add is to copy the internet files to container. So are the first 6 components of Docker file clear for everybody here? All of you. I'm asking you only, man. Okay. All in whatever you guys are the first 6 components of Docker file clear for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box? Entry point I'll explain later point of time, okay? That I haven't explained, I'll explain later. Okay, fine. Entry point practical I explain later for you. Don't worry, okay? As of now, just understand it is more priority than CMD. That's it. And Ram, you wanna speak anything? You raise your hand.
Yeah, actually, when you are downloading a file, so by default, it's taking from a root. So if you
Yes.
are mentioning any particular path, then how you will mention it?
Simply just go to the Docker file and give the path. For example, let's take in the Docker file. Currently, my file is on root path, so I'm directly
Okay.
mentioning the file name. But for example, let's take in my Docker host, index.html is on a folder called bin folder. Just to mention /bin/index.html. So it will directly take from that point.
Okay. So by default path will be the root only.
Default will be the root. Why? Because you are creating the Docker file on root path only, na?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
That's it. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
fine. So that's it. And one more thing here you need to understand is, sir, by default, whenever if you open Docker container, by default you will be on which path? /root path. By default, that is /. But whenever if you open a container, I want to go to directly a specific folder. If I directly open container, I want to go to bin folder. Or if I open a container, I want to go to by default TMP folder. In that case, how we can do means with the help of the attribute called workdir. Which one? If I use workdir /tmp directly whenever I open the container will take me to TMP folder. Or if I put workdir bin, container will directly take me to the bin folder. Like this, if you want to go to any of the folder, by default, when you create the container, you can use the attribute called work dir. So is work dir clear? Yes. And next one will be label here. Which one? For example, here giving author Raham Sheikh. I'm giving author. That means it is going to indicate this Docker file is written by the author called Raham Sheikh. So workdir main purpose is to take you to the desired folder, and label main purpose is to attach the label for your Docker file. Now again you have the Docker file. Now this time you tell me what I need to do now. You have the Docker file. Next, what is the next step after writing the Docker file? Create a image. How do you create? Tell me the full command then. Docker build -t Raham v4 and put dot. So image got builded. After image builded, what you gonna do now? Create the, tell me the command then. Docker run it name container 4. Image will be Raham v4 put dot. Now you are currently in which folder? TMP. But previously for the previous example, when I open the container, by default you go to which path? Previously, I see. Previously I manually go to TMP path, but no, automatically you came to. Why it happened? Due to workdir. Which one? And next one you have given the label, right? That is author Raham Sheikh. Come out of the container by using Control PQ. You can use the command docker. Let me ask you a command. What is a command that show me the complete information of a Docker container? Inspect, correct. So docker inspect name of the container. So I can give container 4. Container 4, okay. In the container 4, if you inspect, are you seeing label author Raham Sheikh? Author Raham Sheikh is given behind the labels, correct or not, sir? Like that. So workdir main purpose is to open the required folder, and label main purpose is to add label for Docker. Remember, this label is not for the container. This label is for the image itself. Is a point clear for all of you? Yes. So next one is going to be environment and arguments. Both environment and arguments are used to pass the variables. But environment will take inside the container and arguments will pass variable from outside of the container. That is the only difference. Environment is to set the variables. Arguments also is to pass the variables. But environment variables will work inside the container and arguments will work outside of the container. And let me go and give the command docker ps-a. I have a lot of containers, but are these containers having any port numbers here? Let me go and give port number also. VM Docker file. Now go and give from Ubuntu. I'm gonna use env here. Env I am using client Swiggy. Okay. Again, one more environment variable. What we call server, app server, for example. Okay. And like I am using expose. Which one? 8080. Here expose main purpose is to give the port number for container. Till now, you have a lot of containers, but containers are not having any port number. If you want to give port number for any of the container, which Docker component you are going to use now? And I am using env. Env main purpose is to set the environment variables, but these variables will be working inside the containers. Let's go and build the Docker image now. Tell me the command to build image. Docker build -t Raham v5 dot. And one more thing I see, you can use Raham v1 for every image, but I'm maintaining different versions for your clarity only. It's for your clarity only, okay? Input dot. Now, after building the custom image, what is the next point? Container. Docker run container 5. Raham v5. Now, if I give echo dollar, what is the first environment variable I have given? Client. Are you getting Swiggy? Second one is echo dollar server. Are you getting app server? Working or not, sir? It is working inside the container. I have used env. Which one? As per the notes, if you go and see, env used to set the environment variables inside the. But if I want to set the environment variables outside of the container, I need to use arguments. Which one? I'll show you arguments in MySQL. How to give the arguments in MySQL, okay? And finally, expose main purpose is to give the how to check the port number of container. Come out of the container first. What is the command to get complete information of container? You Docker inspect container number 5. You can check like this also. If you go to the top, here you can get the port number, the top. I mean, like no need to go this much of top actually. Let me come down. The bottom only you can see. Image network. In the network, are you seeing ports? Instead of giving this one, simply give Docker ps command. Are you seeing the port number here again? Like that. So how do I get the port number? By using which component? Export. How I get the environment variables? By using env. Okay. How I copied the local files to my container? Copy. How I copied the internet files to my container? Add. How I give the author Raham Sheikh to my container? Label. How I go directly to TMP folder? Work here. How I run the commands in my Docker file while creating image? Run. How I run the commands in my container after container creation? CMD. How I take the Ubuntu as my operating system? By using from component. Okay. So this is the whole and sole concept of the Docker file itself. Now all the components in Docker file, clear for all of you know? Everybody. All in is the complete concept of Docker file. Clear for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box once? If it is clear, we'll do one Netflix project now right away. But unfortunately, I am not going to tell the Docker file for it. You will tell the Docker file for it. Okay. Fine. It was clear. Okay. So here I got a question from Swati. Here name is v4 is the name of the image. Is there any rule for image? No. Basically, you can give whatever the image name you want, Swati. But version is mandatory. Why? Because version will vary the images. From one image to another image, you need to have difference, right? For the difference, I'm entering the version. Fine. Now let's go and build the Netflix application in the Docker file. First of all, you just learn the Docker file, right? Just now right away. Do you think you can build the Netflix application from Docker container? Is it easy or difficult? First of all, tell me. Easy. Easy, yeah? Okay, I'll go with one by one. First of all, from this side, easy or difficult? Difficult, eh? Don't know. Difficult, eh? Easy. Easy only. See our boys. Everybody is telling easy only. That is the guts they are having, okay? Of course, kidding now. Fine. Let's go and make it is very easy. Netflix deployment. So the concept is going to be very, very important. Guys, here, what exactly I'm going to tell now is, first of all, remove the entire thing actually. I'm going to remove everything. Okay. And of course, if you want to remove containers also, you can remove, but I'm not going to remove the containers. Keep them as this. First of all, tell me one thing. Where is my code? In my GitHub. Correct or not, sir? If you go to my GitHub, there it is. I'll install Git first of all in my Docker host. Why? Because if I don't have Git, the code will not come. First of all, I'm installing it. And after installing the Git, I'm just cloning the repository. What I'm doing? Cloning the repository. Okay. So now I have the repo called Netflix clone. CD Netflix clone. I'm going to this one. Are you seeing the files now? It is my code actually. It is what? My code. For this code, we are going to write the Docker file. See, it is very, very easy. When developer give you the code and ask you to write the Docker file, the thing will become very easy. First of all, if I go to VM, Docker file, I'm writing Docker file. What I'm writing? So I'm using Apache web server. Why? Because it is front-end code. When front-end code is there, which one you are going to use? But front-end code plus back-end code means you need to use Tomcat. So now tell me, first of all, I want to install Apache. The point is very clear. You have the front-end code. Front-end code means Apache need to be there. If you want to use Apache, first of all, you need to install. So if I want to install, first of all, what I need to have? OS. How can I get OS? From Ubuntu. Wait, let me change from. Right? First point is done. Now I want to install Ubuntu. Sorry, Ubuntu not Apache I want to install. So what I need to write here? Run apt. First of all, install Apache to -v. That is a command. You know all of you. But before installing anything in Ubuntu, what we need to do? Update. Correct. So run apt update. First 3 points clear. So you have the basic OS and you run the update and you install the Apache. Now what you want to do is you want to run the systemctl command. Correct or not, sir? But systemctl command you are going to return some different way. I'll tell you how to do it. So let's assume you have systemctl Apache start also. Now my question is, you have the code. You have the code in your local. Okay. Whenever, if you have code on your local, you want to deploy an Apache path. What is the path for Apache server? That is Tomcat. Tell me. Where www. That means it is the path where www. You need to put your code on this path. Currently, where is your code? In my local folder only. If I want to copy the code from my local folder to the container, which attribute I need to use? Correct. Copy. Copy. And I want to copy all the files. All means start. Correct or not, sir? See how easy it is. Is it difficult now? First of all, you need to understand the requirement. What is your requirement? It is front-end code. So I need to install Apache. Apache spelling is wrong here. Wait. Apache. Okay. Apache. Fine. First of all, you need to install Apache for front-end code. So I'm installing Apache. But before install, I need to update. So if I want to install or update packages, first of all, I need to have I take the OS, I update, I install. Now in Apache, I need to put my code in var www.html. Where is the currently code now? Code is on my local. When the code is on local, which attribute to use? Star indicate all. I'm copying all the files to var www.html. Now that's it. Now if I hit enter, next one is going to be, sir, here I'm using CMD. Which one? When CMD will execute? Let me write the content first and explain it later, okay? User has been Apache CTL. This indicates to control the Apache service. Basically, to control any service, which tool we use? System CTL tool, correct or not, sir? But to control Apache, we are using Apache CTL. Apache CTL is the command line tool to control the Apache service. But this Apache CTL is inside the SBIN. SBIN is inside the, that means user SBIN. Inside user folder, I have SBIN folder. Inside that folder, I have Apache CTL. That Apache CTL will control my Apache service. And I'm using D here. Hyphen D stand for detached mode. Okay. Foreground. That means always run my Apache on foreground. Don't take Apache to background service. If you run on foreground, Apache will be 24/7 activate. If you make that on background, Apache will be stopped. When Apache is stopped, is your container going to work? No. Again, I'm explaining one more time for you. Apache CTL is the command line tool that control the Apache service. And here foreground means I am telling to run my Apache service on front part of my container. If you take it to background part, if it stop, again we need to restart or not, sir? So always run my Apache service on the foreground. That's it. Now, if you go and build a Docker image, that is your Netflix application. Let me go and build the image. Docker build -t. Image name will be Netflix version 1 input dot. That's it. Your Netflix application got built. Now from the image, what I'm going to create now? Tell me the command to create container. Docker run name. Let's check Netflix. Image name will be Netflix v1. But I want to give port number. So if you want to give port number, before image name -p. What I need to put? I am giving 80. What is 80 means? First port is the image port. In image, what you install? Apache I install. What is the port number of Apache? So first port number will be fixed. You cannot change it. Second port is the container port number. You can give here 80 or 81, 82, 83, 84. Anything you can give. But I am taking 80 here. What I am taking? No, sir. If I want to take 81 also, you can take 81. But remember, for the port number, first one is 80. It is fixed. Why? Because in my image, I install the Apache port number is 80 fixed. And second one is a container port number. Container port number can change, but image port number will not. Hit enter. The moment if you hit enter, now if I go to my public IP address, what is the port number I have given to my container? 81. Container port number, not image. Is your application running? No. Or if I try with 80, is it running? No. Why? Because the one thing you need to understand is before you try and check with the public IP address, make sure you need to give all traffic. Without all traffic, how will we get the port number activated, sir? No. Let me go to security group. In security group, I have gone here. Edit inbound tools. Already I have the all traffic. Let me delete and give one more time all traffic. Now let's see. I am giving here all traffic. Anywhere. Put this now. And the port number is gonna be 81. But still it won't come. Why? I tell you the reason. Sometimes if you try to access the application, you are getting HTTPS. Which will? HTTPS is not with the port number 80 or 81. It is 443 port number. So please remove yes here. What you need to remove? Hit enter. Is it working now? Sir, why still it is not working? Sir, we have done like everything correct only now. But why it is not working? Let's go with 81s. Is it working? No. What is the reason for it is not working, sir? First of all, no. Let me come out of the container. Let me check the container is running or not. Docker ps-a. Netflix container running or not, sir? What is the port number here? But still why it is not working? Check the Docker file once. In the Docker file, everything here we are using is correct only, right? Foreground. Just see this one. If I open Docker file, cat Docker file. Can see I update them. I install Apache. I gone for var www.html and I'm using user sbin Apache CTL hyphen d stand for dashboard and I'm running it on foreground. But still why it is not working? Let me do one thing. Docker remove the container. Docker kill Netflix and use Docker rm Netflix. Let me create the container one more time. Let me go with 8080 this time. Okay. Now go ahead and check. Public IP address. What is the port number? 80. Is it working now? Working or not? Now same thing, I'll come out of the container. I'll come out of the container. I'll try to give some other port number. This time I'm giving port number 81, but with the container name Netflix 2. What is the name of the container? Netflix 2. If you go and see here, container port number 80 is already allocated. You need to understand a small concept here. What is the concept here? This is the container port or image port? Image port. And this one is the container port. That is the difference. Basically, in the practice, lot of you people are going to confuse it. That is the reason why I said mistake here in the class itself. Okay. Please don't repeat this mistake. In practice, I am telling you, lot of you people are going to stuck on the same mistake. What I said, first one is the image port number, second one is the container. But what is the reality? First one is the container port number, second one is image port number. If you want to remember on shortcut, remember the continuous integration. Which one? Continuous integration. C stand for container. I stand for, that is a shortcut. CI is a shortcut to remember the port number. Okay. So please don't confuse in the practical part. So now if I give the public IP address for all of you, and even for online, just do one thing. I'm going to give the public IP address on the screen. Open your mobiles, all of you. In your mobile, don't go to WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. Please type this public IP address. Okay. And online, even YouTube, please type the public IP address on your browser. You are going to get the output. I got it. Online, what about you guys? Have you got it? Can you check it one more time? Yeah, fine. So this is the way how exactly you are going to get the things. Okay. So first of all, you are going to take the code from developer. Based upon developer code, you are going to build a Docker image. From the Docker image, what you are going to launch here? Container. Is the concept of using Docker file clear for all of you know? In real time also same process. First of all, we take developer code. Based upon the code, we write the Docker file. From the file, what we build? Image. From the image. So is it easy or not, sir? That's it. So this is the whole concept of the Docker itself. Is the concept of Docker file clear for all of you know? Theoretically and practically. Online, what about you guys? Is the Docker file concept clear for all of you, both theoretically and practically? Can you please confirm in chat box? Okay, fine. So now let's go for the interview questions and followed by the doubts and queries. Okay. So for the interview questions in today's class, first one, what is OS level of virtualization? Taking the backup of complete operating system and reusing it for multiple times. What is Dockerfile and why we need to use it? It's an automation way of creating the images. Here we use components, which is on capital letter and D will be capital letter. The main purpose is to reuse the Docker file. What are the Dockerfile components? Tell me any few components from run, CMD, entry point, copy, add, env, args, expose, label, so on. Of course, we have a lot of things. Difference between run versus CMD. Run will execute Linux command during image creation. CMD will execute Linux command after container creation. Difference between entry point versus CMD. Both will be working for same purpose, but entry point will be having high priority. I'll show practically on the next session, like upcoming. Difference between copy versus add. Copy is to copy local files, but add is to copy the internet files. Difference between env versus args. Env work inside the container. Args will pass from outside of the container. And what is the purpose of using from? OS. Yep. In interview, they will ask you one more thing also. What is multi-stage build in Docker? What is multi-stage build in? For example, let's take Docker images. Am I having the RAM image here? Netflix image and everything. For example, if I go vim Docker file, in this Docker file, instead of from Ubuntu, if I use Netflix, already I built the Netflix image or not, sir? This is what I can call as multi-stage build. Multi-stage build means it is very, very easy. First of all, from the Docker file, you build a image. What you build? In the next Docker file, if you use the previous image as the base image, then that is what we can call as multi-stage build. Which one? Let me write this on your notes. What is the meaning of multi-stage build? Here if I can go and if I type multi-stage build in official documentation, I'm going to show you multi-stage build in Docker. It will directly take the official documentation. See, multi-stage builds are useful to anyone who struggle to optimize the Docker files while keeping them easy to read and maintain. With multi-stage build, you can use multiple from statement in your Docker file. That means from each from instruction can be used for different base. Here, if you can see, here from I am using from Go language. What I'm using from? Go language. And after that, if I build a image, like I'm getting so and so build call image called hello. What I'm getting it as? For the next function, if I use the Go language as from the scratch, so then that is what I can call as multi-stage build. So in interview, it is also going to be one of the question. So with multi-stage builds, a Docker build uses one base image for compilation, package, and testing, and then separate image from running the application. Simply, I'm going to explain on only 2 lines, okay, which will easy for you to understand. First of all, let me give this notes. So it is the notes and right here multi-stage build. What I'm writing? Multi-stage build. If we build image 1 from Docker file, and use that image 1 to build other image, that is what we can call as multi-stage build. That means if I build the image 1 from the Docker file and use the same image 1 to build the other, that is what I can call as multi-stage build. For example, let's take this Docker file. From the Docker file, I build the image 1. But in the Docker file, in the other Docker file or in the same Docker file, in the Docker file, if I put from If I put from image 1, then this is what I can call as multi-stage build. So is the concept of multi-stage build clear for all of you now? That's it. It is one of the interview question for you. Okay. And the purpose of using multi-stage build is to reduce the length, reduce the time, and reduce the size of image actually. Okay. Advantages. Advantages. Yes. Less time and less work and less complexity. That's it. We can save the time, we can save the work, and we can save the complexity of the Docker images also. Is it clear for all of you now? Online is the concept of multi-stage build. Clear for all of you? Can you please confirm me once? Okay. Fine. So now it's enough for today's class. So now before going for doubts and queries, first of all, how's the class for all of you today? The class clear for all of you? Yes. Online, what about you guys? How's the class for all of you? Can you please confirm in chat box? Okay. Fine. So now if you are having any doubts or any queries online, you can raise your hand, and offline you can go ahead. So first from online, Akhil, you can go ahead, Akhil Muhammad. So guys, please make some silence. Okay, I'm not able to hear their voice otherwise. Yeah, Akhil, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So that it's like a Docker file is like a template, right? When we create an image, from image we create a
From Docker file, you create the image.
image. Yeah, from image when we run the image, we create the container, right?
Yeah.
So whenever we create the containers, it will going to have memory space in the system, right? Suppose we
Yes.
have hundreds of software we provide as a description, and
Uh.
when we run the container, so whenever we run any number of containers, that means that many number of memory spaces will be going to allocate.
So the storage will come from our Docker host only. Currently, whatever the storage using by my EC2 server, same
Yeah.
storage will be used by Docker machines also, Akhil. That is the
No,
next
no,
upcoming
say
concept
like
which you are
suppose
going to learn.
when we run the image and the Docker container will created, so at that time whatever the softwares we have, so it will going to install it, right?
Like your question is not clear for me. Can you ask me one more time?
Whenever we create the container is created, means the memory space will going to allocate in the system,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we create more than one or hundreds of containers, that many
Okay.
number of space going to allocate for that
Yeah.
container. Okay.
That's what I'm telling. See, guys, if we have lot of containers, it is my container 1, container 2, container 3, container 4. I have some hundreds of containers. All of these on my Docker host only. Docker host means what here? EC2. So for example, my EC2 is having 1 GB of RAM and 1 GB of CPUs. I mean, sorry, 1 CPU as well as 8 GB of EBS volume. So every container is gonna use this storage only. By default, containers will not have any restriction. They can use as many as one. But in real time, we are going to restrict them by using the quotas. So upcoming days, I'm gonna show you how to restrict them, Akhil. So that is the tomorrow's concept actually, whatever you are asking now.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye. Nikhil, sir, if I want to deploy, create my own pom.xml, so definitely you need to use XML language. You need to write it on your own, Nikhil. And Shivani, what is one copy hyphen from, like, I'm not able to get what exactly you're trying to ask. You can unmute, Shivani.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Yeah, actually, we have you explained about the copy command, right? Usually, we have argument like from like that in my real time.
Okay.
So I just want to know what is the use. Actually, I don't know that.
So you
Actually,
want me to explain what is the copy hyphen from, right?
Yes.
Let
We
me
will
show
give
you.
some directory name, right? It
Yeah,
will.
yeah. I'll walk you through the official documentation.
Okay.
Docker file from, if I type this one, directly we'll be going to official documentation. In the official documentation, just go for copy. Okay. So
Okay.
if you go and see, these are the limited options what you can go through from. So whatever you are telling is copy hyphen from. That means the first one. If I click on this one, this main purpose is to, for example, if you use hyphen from, the first one you are going to use as image. Next you can use stage. Next you can use context. Okay. The
Okay.
copy hyphen from flag let you to copy files from an image, a build stage, or named a context instead. That means simply what I can tell you is, if you all already having a image, from that image you want to copy the file itself. In that case, this hyphen from will be helpful for you. So in your
Okay.
case, whatever the ping you send me, so hyphen from Docker Hub, like let me show you this one. Let me show you this on the notes here. Wait. This is what you pinged for me. Let me explain this one. Copy hyphen from is equal to this one. This indicate I am copying from Docker Hub. Okay, there is a repository
Okay.
called R. There is a folder called ping identity / ping access. That means from this particular path from Docker Hub registry, you are copying something actual. That is ping access.
Okay.
Is this clear for you now, Shivani?
Yes, I got it. Can you open that link, sir, once?
You want me to open this link? Huh?
Yes.
This one, right?
Yes, correct. Can you
It
explain
is
the
an image
tags?
actually. It's an image
Yeah.
for security. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you open the tags?
Want me to open tags? Okay. Yeah.
See here, sir. Digest and all is there, right? OS or and tag name is like Alpine. Alpine is the OS, right? So and
Yes.
again,
Alpine is the one of
we.
the image actually what you can use in the Docker files.
But why that another OS is showing Linux and which one is that? I didn't get.
This one you are telling.
Yes.
So basically, let me tell you here OS and architecture. For every OS, we have the architecture. Here, architecture we are following is AMD 64.
Okay. That
Okay,
I
this is the
understand.
architecture type actually.
Okay, Linux and Alpine. Tag name they mentioned Alpine, but OS they mentioned as Linux.
I mean, like, I'm not seeing any Alpine image here, like Shivani, whatever you are
But
saying. Where is
can
Alpine here?
tag name. Can you see?
Tags are there. Okay, this one you are talking about. Huh?
Yes.
Let me tell you.
Here.
If I show you here, let me explain you properly. If I go inside this one, you can see the complete information for this particular image. What are the like layers we are having in this layer? Here argument is based, like I have the Java installed from the root user administrator. And if I scroll keeping down, I can see Alpine of version 1.8.0. Ping access is there and you are exposing some port number called 9000 and 3000. Okay. So this will be the layers actually. Now tell me like what exactly your query is here.
Actually, in this image, if I running the Linux commands, it's not working.
It's not working. Which attribute you are using? Are you using run or like run and CMD?
Run only. If I try to update try to install
What is the error you are
any
getting? Can you let me know what is the error you are getting?
those command is not one. apt suppose apt command if I am using apt update, apt is not command not found.
That means the OS that is having it's not Linux. Here you can see Alpine, right? It's Alpine
Yes.
image. It is telling.
So I don't know what is the package manager for this Alpine. Any of the apt dnf anything I am trying to use, it's not working.
Wait, what you want to do? Alpine image apt get not found. Go to this page. Here you can see something. Okay, are you getting this one? Try to use this one. Like I can suggest. Here you have the solution also, like Shivani.
Yes, I tried all this.
You tried all this, but still it's not working. Eh?
Yes.
Okay. Just ping me your error, like what you got in the Telegram. Okay, I'll check and let you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And go to tags. There are we can see the in the tags edge. Uh,
Let me do one thing. Basically, instead of using that version, can you go for some different version? Why? Because it might be like due to version constraint. Like just go with some other version I can suggest.
yes, even if I go
It is
other
better approach.
versions.
What I can tell for you is why? Because like if this version is not working, that doesn't mean we need to go and work on this version also. Try and check with some different versions.
Yeah, I just
It's a
want
better
to know
approach.
here tag name edge is there, right? You have any know the
Edge is there,
difference?
yeah.
What is that edge? Is it
It's the name of the
Gentis
tag. Tag's name you can push whatever you want, like Shivani. See, basically,
Okay.
here if you go and see in my Docker images, let me show you. Here I have multiple Docker images. All of them are RAM image only. But for version 4 image, I have some different options. For version 3 image, I have some different options like that. Okay. These tags will represent the ending point of the image, which is having some different features actually. It's for our understanding only.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just want to know, is there general way they will use alpha in some tag and edge tag and latest tag for this different stages? I just want
Definitely.
maybe
See, I got your question. For example, let me explain in a clear way. In the edge tag, if you can see this one, I can be able to show you what are the parameters for this image. In this image, how many parameters are there now? 26
26.
layers. How many?
Yes, 26.
26. But instead of edge, if I go to the latest Alpine tag, image is same, but the tag is different. Are you seeing the number of steps here?
Yeah.
There will be some differences actual, like due to,
Yeah.
and you can see the size of the image also. It is 234.38 for current one, and for this one, let me check. 234.38. Are you seeing the differences here?
Yeah.
One is 235.28 and 234.38. So
It's
might be there are
same.
some difference due to that image
Yeah.
and image.
Actually, this I know that ping access that latest version
Yeah.
difference will is there
Yep.
related to that application. So actually, suppose I know this application. So new application.
Okay.
If you want to pick which tag we need to pick, is there any generic or common?
So that depends upon your
latest?
requirement. I cannot simply directly go and tell this pack. Okay. So it depends upon your requirement. What exactly your requirement? For that requirement, is this image compatible or not? That you need to check with your developers first of all.
Okay. Suppose this the common you are selling Ubuntu and all, right? Those also it directly it will take latest, right? If you don't mention
By
any tag,
default, if you don't mention anything, it will go for latest tag by default.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. So next to Nagendra, you can go ahead.
Hello, hi sir.
Hello, Nagendra.
I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, you are selected Ubuntu OS instead of Amazon Linux. If I select Amazon Linux, no need to put apt update, right?
That won't work, Nagendra. So depends upon your AMI, the package manager will change. Already we discussed this one. Na? Okay. So don't use apt for Amazon Linux. For Amazon Linux, go and use the yum command
Yes,
as a
sir.
package manager. Okay.
I'm saying that.
Hello.
I'm saying that one, sir. If I take Amazon Linux OS, no need to use apt update, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fine. And again, Shivani, go ahead.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Actually, you said the copy command we can copy local files to the container or image. Sorry, image. And add for the to pick the from the
like
internet.
files which are over internet and other some places.
So if you want to copy the files from the image to image in the Docker file itself. In
Okay.
the Docker file, if, we need to.
There hyphen from you can use Shivani. Hyphen from you can use. That can copy the files from one image to another image. But instead of doing that one, if your files are already on the image, that must be on your local, right? So try to copy it from local itself.
Okay. Suppose I have image. It's already suppose been some MS SQL file is there.
Okay.
So I want to move that file, SQL file, to the other OPT some out instance something.
Okay.
So we can use the Docker file. In the Docker file, we can give any command or
We can
like
use,
copy.
but instead of that one in volumes, we can do it more simple way, Shrivan. I'll tell you in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow is a volumes concept. There you can see like how it is going to move from one container to another container, one image to another image, and from local to host and host to local. I'll show everything for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay then, so that's it for today. Let me know tomorrow's session with some new topic. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you.